Hello DeFi Alpha Gang, my name's Seb, I'm one of the co-founders, and I'm here with the other co-founder of the guild, Gerry. How are you today, Gerry?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Seb. I'm here to be blue-pilled into getting some stepping action happening.
Indeed. I'm going to blue pill, and as discussed before we've started recording, you're going to be playing Devil's Advocate. So this is, I'm bullish. I wear bullish glasses. You're like this sometimes with Luna or Luna protocols, and it's important to have someone that comes and tries to poke holes in the argument so you escape your echo chamber. And it's a good idea to do this with everything, like so many things in life. And you can see where you need to learn more and research more, and you can see where you could be wrong. And at the end, you may have a different view. So that's what we're going to do. I have no idea what you've got prepared for me, and you've got no idea what I've got prepared for you. Sound good?
Sure. So how do you want to start? Do you want to explain your bull thesis first? I mean, I haven't got a huge amount sort of lined up because I haven't delved into it nearly as deeply as you. So a lot of my stuff's going to be surface level area, but I guess I'd love to hear your bull case first.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm going to share my screen. I'll put us down in the corner, and I'll just kind of go through a little bit of an overview and then why I'm bullish, and the pros and the cons, and go from there.
Sounds good.
Great. So anyone that's listening on Spotify, this will be linked below for the YouTube if you want to watch it on YouTube so you can see what I'm putting on my screen. But I'll try and explain things as I'm going through. So first up, I'm just on the stepn.com website. It's just stepn.com. It's a very clean website. There's not a lot going on. It has like a little counter saying the amount of distance run and the carbon offset that they've done, calories burned, etc., and a few other metrics with Discord and Twitter. Then it goes down to the roadmap, and this roadmap they're making quite a bit of progress with. And then we've got some more kind of information on the team and stuff down below, and all of it's really, really good. It's really well done. Everyone's doxed. They've got some fantastic advisors, and it's actually a very clean looking website. Would you agree there, sir?
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, it does look good. It does look smooth. And from what I've seen on videos on like Nicole put out with the app, it does look like it's a pretty schmick operation. So certainly no red flags there.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the Twitter is active, properly active, 345,000 followers, and, you know, they're getting fantastic interaction. A lot of AMAs. There's always an AMA happening, and it's linked with maybe another protocol or quite often a centralized exchange. And they also do a lot of community things. So the founders, Gerry and Jorn, they will quite often chat with Barndog, who's a like Australian gaming enthusiast on the crypto side, and he does fantastic things, and you have pull up people into the community or in Twitter spaces as well. So there's a huge amount of transparency, which is of course very important in this space. But let me just go over what it is if you're unfamiliar. So it's an application that you download onto your iPhone or Android phone, and you can basically buy an NFT, and the NFT is a sneaker. And at the moment, the price is quite high. It's pretty decent. It's around, for a decent sneaker, about $1,600 US. Of course, it didn't start that high. In December last year, this is when beta came out, and it was still, you know, quite suppressed in terms of price in February. And then it wasn't until March when things started to kind of explode. But basically, you have this NFT, and you can level up the NFT. You can add aspects to it to improve the ability to earn their token, which is the GHST token. And you go on runs, and they have GPS tracking and anti-cheating measures and things like that. And you earn this token, and you just can't own a shoe and then just go running for 10 hours a day. There's a certain amount of time that you can run. So for example, one shoe will give you 10 minutes of exercise a day that allows you to actually earn the token. Then you can add more shoes and get more energy. And every time you get an extra 2 energy, it's another 10 minutes. So basically, 1 energy token allows you to do 5 minutes. And that all replenishes every 24 hours. So the premise is basically to get shoes, to level them up. And as you level them up, you can actually improve your rate at earning the GHST token. And then you use the GHST token in different ways, such as upgrading your sneaker or adding implements or all those sort of aspects. And that will actually burn the GHST token, with a small amount of that burn going to the team as kind of a tax. And of course,
just got a quick question, Seb, on the sneakers themselves. Do you know, like, how have they initially released the NFTs, and like, is there a cap supply on those, or do you know how that went down?
So I don't have a lot of information on the initial release. People that were in the Discord participated in the beta in December. I believe most of them, if not all, that were actually active, they got a free sneaker, and then they created some initially, and then that's it. That's it, at least for this stage. And from there, you can take 2 sneakers and you can kind of upgrade them and breed them together. You then use the GHST token and the governance token, GMT, which I'll go over later, and that will produce a 3rd shoe. So you can actually continually inflate the supply of the sneakers, just like Axie Infinity, which...
that's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. And it's a con, but it also potentially can be worked out in terms of limiting that supply. But I'll go over that.
It's kind of good in a way, because it means it can grow, and you don't just have 10,000 sneakers or whatever it is, and an obscene sort of price point to get in at. Obviously, there's an equilibrium at some point, but that's interesting. I was wondering how that would work, or would the team release another wave of NFTs as a second tier or something later on, maybe? And I noticed there's also renting, isn't there, with NFTs renting, too, isn't there?
There's talk of renting. It's planned. It's in the roadmap for September. However, it may not be released in September because I'll go into it a little bit later, but renting is not a positive thing for a project in its infancy. So we'll have to see what happens there. With regards to the sneakers, you have like different levels as well. So, common and uncommon and rare, and it goes up and up to, epic and then legendary. And so all of those aspects allow people to kind of try and move up in the game. But I don't actually know how many sneakers there are. There will be tens of thousands, maybe over 100,000. It's not something that I've been able to find or even really look. I haven't even really looked for. It's not super easy because a lot of this is done. It's done on the Solana blockchain. They've also started up on Binance. However, pretty much all activities on Solana. And Solana can't actually handle the transactional volume. So a lot of the stuff is done in-app. So you buy the NFT, you use the app, and you kind of custody your assets with them. And then it's all done on the server. And then when you withdraw,
probably not. So sorry. So when a user sort of spins up the app, they don't have to worry about a wallet address or seed phrases or anything like that, or how does that work?
They do indeed. So let's see if there's any screenshots of it.
You may have been coming to that. Just sort of curious, because
of course, that
sort of thing is great for user experience and trying to get people onboarded if they're starting to use a crypto asset in a blockchain. They don't even realize it. I think for me, that's really bullish. Like, that's where the industry needs to get to help grow. And if this can cater to that, this could be one of those things where, it's a bit of a 0 to 1 moment in terms of onboarding people.
Yeah, it's not there yet. Like, you do need your own wallet.
Right.
They may release things in the future. Maybe they're going to use like a solution like Taurus. Taurus is where you can basically use your email credentials in order to create a seed phrase.
It'd be good if they had a self-custody version, so it's optional, because you need to cater for both parties. I think like crypto natives are going to want to not have that custodial service if they can help it. But, your mum and dad are going to want that. So that'd be good if they could cater for that.
Yeah, exactly. So, at the moment, you basically come into the application, you sign up, you have to get an activation code from Discord or from a friend. So they're kind of limiting the number of people that can join per day. And you come up and you have to either import a Solana wallet, using a seed phrase, or you have to create your own. So they still have that step, but it's done a lot easier. And I think this could work very well with a Solana wallet such as Radiant, which I might do a video on that in the future. But basically with Radiant, they have a very user-friendly beginner experience, and you could use that wallet with this wallet, the same seed phrase. And I know what you mean. Like, you do need like a super basic, onboarding process. However, this is actually being able to onboard a lot more people that wouldn't have been jumping into crypto. People that were interested in fitness. There are like a lot of success stories of people that are kind of using it just as a way to get fit. And when they start to make some money, they're getting a lot of their partners in. Partners normally being the wives. Girls aren't as interested in crypto, but they're getting super keen into this because it's exciting. So you're getting a lot more mums and things, people that come in, and in many respects, you know, like you wouldn't expect them to come into crypto so early, but they are, and this is doing that really, really well.
That's awesome. I mean, the more of this sort of stuff that's out there, the better, honestly. It's more, I guess my concerns, and we'll probably touch on that later, is more around the tokenomics.
Exactly.
And obviously just the massive pump in price, and the hype. Sometimes you almost, your red flags and alarm bells start going off when you just start seeing so much noise around something.
They do.
And often stuff can keep going much higher than you expect. But it's sort of like, for me, I first heard about this in January, quite early on, and read a one-page PDF on it and went, move to earn sounds a bit like a fad. I don't think that's going to work. And didn't think of it again, and had a mate who, occasionally would mention it. And I didn't even realize until a few days ago that GMT is the token, because I'd heard that a few times too and just thought of some other DeFi thing or whatever. But he's a runner, and, he's making up to $800 a day going for a run because he got in so early and has leveled up his sneaker. But I guess I'd just be worried about a new entrant coming in and buying other people's bags, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, this is an educational podcast, not financial advice, but I will give, not advice, but I will say what I would do if I was entering now with the knowledge I now have. And I'll give that towards the end.
No worries.
But yeah, let's segue into the price of the token, because I agree. It's ridiculously expensive, and we don't want to enter at these kind of expensive rates. I also have some FUD as well, some great FUD, some good viewpoints from a smart person. So there's two tokens in the ecosystem. There's the STEPN token, which is a GMT token. This is the governance token. This has will have 11 or more use cases, but at present they haven't been released. They're going to release 2 every 2 weeks, I think. Or either way, they'll be releasing all the different uses in the future. I'll go over that a little bit towards the end. But if we zoom out, this was done with an IDO on Binance, March 11th, and it's up. It's a 36x. So you put in $1,000 there, you made 36,000. And so I would definitely say that this is not sustainable. The price is too high, but in some ways, it actually has some room to grow. Now, if you have a look at the market cap, it's $2.2 billion, which is pretty insane, of course. This app has 400,000 users, apparently. I'm not sure if it actually has that many daily active users. Can't actually get those exact figures, but they've got a lot of users. They are scaling and scaling and scaling. Now, when you look at the fully diluted valuation of $22.6 billion, that's nuts. I mean, the rank is...
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. I mean, the sky's the limit. And if we do get, proper mainstream adoption, that's probably not that unrealistic. But right now, it's so early. And it's just like, okay, that's, in my mind, it's a very high price point for the number of tokens that are actually out there.
Yeah. And I do have the token vesting schedule, so we can go over that shortly, which is super important to know.
Yep.
But at the moment, I wouldn't be saying buy this token and hold this token. Well, I'm not saying anything. It's not financial advice, but I will be, getting a small amount and just keeping a small amount, but it's not my main goal at this stage.
So, sorry, Seb, to buy the sneaker, is it using this token, or you can just come in with Solana, or is it with the GHST token? Or
with Solana at present? I imagine they'll have use cases to use GST. Or
so GMT. This is literally at the moment just a governance token, but with potentially 11 other perks or functionality utilities coming, maybe.
Yeah, I guess I may as well kind of touch on some of the other the GMT use cases.
Cool.
So when you're minting things, you can use GMT token to improve the chance of receiving 2 sneakers from a shoe minting. So when you take 2 sneakers, put them together, you're going to get 1 more sneaker. You can use GMT to potentially get 2 sneakers. So there's that fantastic attribute. You need GMT when you're leveling up. So you take a shoe, let's say it's level 5, you'll quite often level up because then you get to earn more GST. And at certain levels, such as level 5, 10, 20, 29, 30, as an example, you have to level up with GST and GMT. So it has that aspect as well. And there are other aspects such as gems. Gems improve the statistics that you use in the game. So you can use GMT for that. There are many other things that you can basically do with GMT. And if we have a look down here at token burning, we can see that this is a GST token, and this is what we do,
right?
What we use for these things, such as repairing our sneakers. When you do your run, you have to actually repair the.
That's what you're actually earning, isn't it? That GST.
Exactly.
Not the GMT.
Not yet. You can earn the GMT in the future once you've upgraded to level 30, and once they turn on that feature, you can opt to earn GMT instead. But at this stage, you can with the in-app swap, you can actually just earn GST and then go and swap it for GMT in your wallet. So
cool.
It's a very entry level wallet, but it does have a swap feature to go between Sol, GMT, GST, and USDC, which is all you need.
Well, that's good. That's good for UX for sure. If you can just do all that on your phone, like you said, the wives that are running around and don't really care about getting into the blockchain on a computer and whatnot, to be able to do it all on the app, that's a good feature for sure.
Exactly. So there are features for GMT, and they'll all be rolled out. I won't get into them too much now because we're just it's a bit too high level. You need to be kind of familiar with the ecosystem. So that's the first token. And the next token is the green Satoshi token, GST.
That's gone crazy, hasn't it?
It has. And this is the token where people are, it's come down a little bit now. Now, this is definitely...
It's like doubled in 2 days pretty much, hasn't it?
It has. In fact,
oh, wow.
Like
God.
if we just zoom out to, pretty much. I mean, 20th of April, maybe a week. But
okay, yep.
But yeah, it's
so I assume that's people coming in. Obviously, there's speculation and all that, but there's probably also new people coming in. And would that be them buying the token to then buy a sneaker? Oh no, you don't need to. That's Sol, isn't it?
No, yeah. So at the moment, I'll cover this.
That's probably just people buying the token because of the hype and the traction it's getting.
Yeah, a little bit. I guess I'll segue into the FUD briefly.
Sure.
So if we just scroll on down, we'll see that it's on Coinbase Exchange. So it's just been listed on Coinbase Exchange.
So GST and GMT, have they both been put on Coinbase? I think I saw GMT was being listed somewhere else as well.
GMT
might have been.
Where is GMT? So GMT is on Binance. Most of the trading
that's where it launched.
1.2.
Okay, I was probably just getting confused. So GST has been Coinbase listed. Yep, that explains the pump for sure. Exactly,
it's the Coinbase effect. Now the volume on Binance is insane. It means there's a lot of bot trades and scalping and arbitrage and all that sort of higher level stuff. When it comes to the GST token, this is a much smaller market cap. It has a total supply of 10 million, and a lot of it
almost fully diluted. Then that's good.
Yeah, exactly. And you burn it. Now, I'm not sure exactly if this token supply can increase.
So I wonder if that's actually, maybe it started at 10 billion and it's already down to 8.5 more or less from burning. Could well be that.
10 million.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, this is
million.
I think it's you can mint it. So I think this total supply can increase. Oh yeah, it does say that on there. Max supply is unlimited.
Oh, infinity.
So you do just mint it like SLP, which we'll kind of compare shortly. But it's used, there's like a red, blue pill situation. So when you earn your GST, you're wondering, okay, if I take my GST, can I go, I can go and swap it for USDC and I'm great. or I can upgrade. And if I upgrade, then the next day I'm going to earn more GST. So you might, like me just mentioning it, you might be like, oh, it's easy. I'll just do a little bit of both. Or, oh, it's easy. I'll just take profits. It's a no-brainer. This is Ponzi-nomics. But when you're actually playing the game and you know about it, it hits the dopamine receptors very well. Like, I'm looking at my phone, I'm setting reminders for when upgrades are finished. I'm allocating,
Wow.
you know, like, and I'm not even addicted. Like, I'm not the type of person that kind of gets like that. I guess I am a little bit, but across the board, people like this. It's not,
yeah, they're getting the fun factor out of it.
It is fun.
It's not just farming Smooth Love Potion on Axie Infinity where it's a mindless, boring thing.
It is.
Plus, you're running around, right? So you're getting dopamines from that too. So
yeah. And the other thing is you can run, walk, or jog. I just walk quickly. Maybe after I get a little bit fitter, I might run. But at the moment, I'm just walking quickly. But in the crypto world, you know, we are looking at things too often. We need to get outside more. And this is perfect. And I'll touch on that a little bit more again shortly. It's going to be a little bit longer, this podcast, but it's worth it in my opinion. So basically, the GST price is very high. And this is due to the Coinbase effect. Most of the actual on-chain volumes all done on Solana. Oh, well, sorry, most of it's all done on Solana anyway at Orca, and also using Jupiter, which is just an aggregator. But you have seen that you can get quite a bit of money from Coinbase, or there's quite a bit of volume on Coinbase as well. So we'll kind of touch on that. Let me touch on it now. So this is a great little FUD article, and I say FUD article. It's just a person's view, like crypto, and smart as well. Now he's talking about GMT, so not GST. So
how many followers has Light got? He's pretty big, isn't he? In the technical analysis,
154,000. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Now he's referring to GMT. And he's just saying he's built a full short position in the $3.80 range. And he goes through, you know, the fact that it implies a $23 billion valuation diluted. This is only 6 hours old. And he goes through the unlock period, which is actually not too bad. I'll go over that a little bit later. And he basically says, you know, he wants to short it. Then his final post shows that he's actually getting a month.
Using it.
Yeah, he's using it.
That's funny.
Exactly. Now,
that's his hedge. He's got to run a long way for his hedge, but that's his hedge.
Exactly. And why this is all, this is the most interesting and most kind of technical, but basically, 26% of the circulating market cap is being levered up long. So compared to 1.7% for BTC. So the reason why this is so high in many respects is because people are leverage trading with it. They are betting it's going to go up. And that's a dangerous
momentum trade.
Yeah.
It's going to be volatile in either direction for sure. And maybe we've started to see that because it did pump pretty hard overnight in Australia here. And I think it's pulled back a fair way from that, hasn't it?
Let's have a look. Yeah. 24-hour low, $3.60.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah. So that's not too bad as you said. Yeah. So this is it here. This is basically the concern for this token. It's been levered up long, and you know, these can have violent ends. So I'm definitely not buying GMT thinking it's going to go up. I don't think it should go up. I think you know, it's a good idea to have it quite stable. I think GST is a little bit of an issue because it's quite high at the moment. It's kind of too high in my opinion. I think that this should be closer to $4 or so to make it a little bit more sustainable. But it's a market price. But my only point there
it's good for the runners right now. If you're looking to take profits, and you've earned some GST, that's a lot of cash. I'd probably consider, you know, maybe taking some significant profits and reducing your entry, and you know, rather than just putting it all back into the ecosystem, because that's the thing. They're literally getting people on a treadmill running away to try and upgrade their sneakers. Mind you, I'm not in the game. I'm not getting that dopamine hit.
No,
and FOMO is real for collectibles and all that sort of stuff. So, but looking at it, stepping outside and just looking at the chart, that's a heck of a run up in a short space of time, and you might be sitting on quite a bit of cash. So,
yeah, Yeah, I'm definitely taking profits. At one stage, I was thinking I'll take 20% profits a day. Now, with prices high, I'm about 60%. I'd rather slowly
Yeah,
upgrade.
I think that's a smart move because, I mean, if it dumps, you can buy it back in and still upgrade anyway.
Exactly.
You're just hedging, you're protecting yourself and you're lowering your cost of entry basically.
Yeah, exactly. And as GST price climbs, the floor price of a shoe climbs. So 3 weeks ago, I was looking at getting in and I didn't. And the floor price was about 10 sol. Then I got in at a floor price of like 11 and a half. And now the floor price is 16. However,
Gosh,
if GST
that's
comes
really
down,
going up quick in the last couple of weeks or a couple of days even.
Yeah, but if GST price comes back down to $5, that floor price will come down as well.
I guess Sol was sort of up a bit a few weeks ago too, wasn't it? So it's pulled back as well. So that maybe has contributed somewhat because it's kind of priced in Sol as well, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe it's factored in a little bit. I mean, it did hit about 135 recently, Solana. Now it's down like kind of 95, 100. But I think quite often it has been around that $100 mark. So I don't think that's too much of a major factor. Now let's go and compare it to Smooth Love Potion. Now this is Axie Infinity's Infinity Supply token. And in Axie Infinity, and I have Axies and I have Scholars, they play the game, they call it grinding. And grinding is literally like playing the game for like 2 hours a day, trying to earn a little bit of SLP. And these days, they can do that 2 hours a day, every day a week for a month. And at the end of it, like, they're going to make like $50 or $60. Like, it used to be like $500 in the height of this craziness, and now it's not. Same thing with the Axies themselves. In the height of Axie phenomenon, they had a floor price of $300, and now I think they've got a floor price of $33. People are thinking this is the next Axie Infinity. It will go up and then it'll crash. Now, there's a couple of major things to consider. Now, firstly, SLP, it's down 96.5%. So it's massively down. And the fact that it's down so much is it's fine. It's indicative that they messed up the tokenomics. And in my opinion, the Axie team, although they're the first major blockchain gaming company or protocol application, they slowly ship, like properly slowly ship. And they've had like issues with the bridge, the Ronin bridge being hacked for $600 million. And they are slow shippers. And I don't think, I think that's quite bearish overall. I think they'll do well in the future in some respects, but they are slow shippers. And so all it takes is for a team with good advisors and, you know, a bit of passion to come along and just be like, we're going to learn all the lessons from Axie. We don't want a repeat of that. And that's what I feel can be done for any company coming on now. And that's what I think they are doing. Now, Axie has another token. It's called the Axs Governance Token. And this has a fully diluted valuation of 10 billion and a market cap of 3 billion. So right now, exactly as Like Crypto said, the GMT token has a higher fully diluted valuation. Now, fully diluted valuations, as you know, Gerry, they don't really make sense. They don't, like, who cares?
It's a little bit of a meme.
It is.
Yeah, it's a bit of a meme because some of the timelines of these vesting schedules are so long. And
exactly.
Where will we be in 5 years in crypto where, you know, a month feels like a year as it is?
Precisely. So the circulating supply being low, the vested schedule being these really start to unlock properly until next year means that this is probably okay. But I'm not buying GMT at these prices. I'm not really buying them at all. And I'm just selling quite a bit of my GST. So I do think, I hope it's a bit of a local top because it's more sustainable if the entry price for a shoe is maybe $1,000. And maybe you're earning $100 or a couple of $100 a day, as opposed to, you know, these people that are making $1,000 or $1,500 a day. But these are just these are some ideas. All right, now I won't really touch on this too much, but basically, this is a great website if you are familiar, a little bit familiar, or if you want to get involved. My suggestion is not advice, but what I would do personally is I'd go and buy 3 pairs of shoes. Or if I could only afford one, I would buy one. I would go for a jogger, and I would go for a level 5, and I would go for base statistics. We might just reset this here. I'd go for base statistics of efficiency over 5 and resilience over 6. And if I had one sneaker, I would have 2 energy, which would mean I would be making about 6.73 GST a day. So let's just round that up and just call it 7. And let's say the GST price is 8. So that's 56. So let's say would earn it $50 profit per day. If we had 4 sneakers, and 4 sneakers is going to cost you about $5,000 US, we're going to earn basically double that. So about $100 per day at the current rates. Of course, if it's $5,000, that's a return on investment of 50 days. But if you upgrade quickly, and that's what we're seeing a lot of people do, the return on investment is actually less than 50 days. And so that's where it's kind of like, keeping people on the treadmill, as you said. And the goal is people want to get up as high as they can, as fast as they can, as soon as they can, and then they can get their return on investment, which is dangerous. There's this other website here, steppen.wiki, where you can put in all your attributes, and it will basically tell you when you can upgrade and how long it's going to take. So as an example, let's say we had this walker. I'll go with a jogger. I prefer a jogger. We have this with good statistics, and at the current level, we are making 14.8 GST a day. And that would mean if we just took profit at the current prices, we'd be making $2,464 a month. Now, and the 14 GST is $82. If we click on goal over here and we upgrade to level 28, we'll then be making $178, and our net monthly would be over $5,000. Now, of course, sustainable at these prices? No, it shouldn't be.
So is that factoring in how long it takes you if you were to just continually reinvest? Is that what I'm looking at?
Exactly. 100%.
So you can do it pretty quickly inside a month.
24 days. You can get there in 24 days from level 5 with 4 energy.
So most people will be doing that like mad, which kind of feeds into a bit of a Ponzi element, I guess. I'd be worried what happens in a month's time. That's all. But you might have people just slowly selling to, realize their gains, maybe. Yeah. That's something I'd be worried about.
Yeah, well, the game has been going on since December, but like properly kind of February. So how many people got in at that stage? I really don't know. Obviously, the majority of people now, but there's already whales in there that are, making $2,000 a day. And the number of people that are wanting codes to play this game and get involved,
I think the code side is actually kind of brilliant marketing, honestly.
It is.
That's ingenious, really, because it creates so much hype and FOMO just to even get into the game to start with.
FOMO, so much FOMO.
And it's all word of mouth too. How do you get codes off a friend who's already in the game, I take it?
Yeah, you can get it from someone that's already been playing the game, or you can go to the server, and I think it's 1 p.m. UTC time, go to the website, and there's 1,000 codes given away. But they go so fast. I'm not sure if a bot gets them and then they try to sell them or
That's
whatnot.
crazy, really.
Yeah.
Sell codes. That's probably that's the alpha right there. Get a bot for codes.
Of course, anyone that goes into the Discord, I'll have an invite link. Just, turn off DMs in this one because the scams are properly ripe. So
for sure. Well, especially when you have a lot of people coming into crypto for the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a playground for scammers.
And the fact that they're kind of, it also reminds me of like the Nintendo Wii when that first came out, and there was like limited supply, and so people would go and pre-order it and we'll put down a deposit waiting for the next batch to come out, and that drove up hype as well. But not only that, like driving up hype of having more people talk about it, it's also fantastic because like the servers are not keeping up. Like the Solana blockchain is has upgrade issues. Which, that they're working on and fixing. So not fudding Solana. Love Solana.
Even though Axie has dumped, its transactions are still up there with mainnet Ethereum even today, which goes to show you the volumes that just a single game or a single app can pull when it gets traction.
True. But I wonder how much of that, that would mostly be a scholar taking the SLP, sending it to Binance and selling it. The sell pressure on their token would be nuts.
Oh, it's crazy.
So that's why...
Sounds like that hasn't kicked in on this though, Seb, because of the burning mechanic and players trying to level up to get more later on. They're delaying that dumping perhaps.
Yeah, and if I go back to the website here, well, basically the plan was for September to have the roadmap be at a stage where they're going to be releasing lending. But lending done too soon, it basically just has, someone that borrows it, they just go and they dump the token for their local currency, USDC, and they sell it to Filipino pesos or whatever. Doesn't matter. And with the amount of yield that you can make in this game, you could probably end up, living in a developed nation and still make more than your in real life job. So you can't have lending come out. It would be too much sell pressure. It won't be good. So what they're going to try and do, and they haven't said what it is, but they're going to have an interim system. So maybe in September they release something where, I don't know, maybe you earn your GST, but you can't withdraw your GST. And at a certain stage, you can redeem your GST for a shoe, and then you get your own shoe. Maybe that's something that they're going to trial, and then maybe you can sell your shoe if you want to, but that could be better initially. And I like the fact that they can play with the tokenomics. They've already adjusted the tokenomics numerous times in terms of like upgrade costs or minting costs, so that at the moment it's like quite a bit of GST and a little bit of GMT. And then the GST price goes up too fast, they can then say, all right, it's now going to be less GST, but more GMT. So they're doing great things like that, and they can just amend them on the fly. So the lending side, I don't care that it's not going to be ready in September. I'm quite happy if it isn't. But some sort of, move to earn, borrow, and then lock up the GST and then redeem for a sneaker. And then once you have the sneaker, which might take you a couple of weeks, then you could sell it if you want. But a couple of weeks, you might be like, I like this game. I'm going to play it, upgrade it myself, and I'm going to take profits of say 30 or 40%, which can make it a lot more sustainable.
So if you just scroll up there, Seb, I noticed it's the token schedule.
All right, let's get into that.
And that's Excellent. Probably my biggest point of contention right here would be this. So the initial Binance listing was 7% of the token, and I believe that's fully vested. But we've only got 10% of the token out at the moment. So basically all of it is that initial Binance listing where people are up 40x. So I'm guessing most of those people are long gone and dumped the token because you'd have to have diamond hands or be completely addicted to running from day one, which some people might be, and fair play to them. They're probably earning a boatload of cash right now. So for me, like if you click on the bottom there and exclude the Binance launch,
don't think remove that exclude it.
If you click on it, I think it gets rid of it down the bottom, just below it.
Ah, okay. Genius. Okay, great.
And then if you get rid of the move to earn and the treasury.
Yep.
There's all the people that are about to start dumping on you. That's what I'm worried about. It's that right there. So if you hover over sort of April, you can see how much they've been able to start dumping. It's not much, but if you start moving forwards, well, further ahead in time, you'll see how much they can start to dump. So if you just move it out a few months. So it's probably this graph here that I'm sort of most worried about. So if you just go forward a few months from now, you can start to see how much that percentage ratchets up.
Yeah, exactly.
And the advisors and, well, the private sale, they got it at 0.5%. So they're on an 80x. So if you don't think they're going to dump those tokens the moment they vest, you got rocks in your head. And that's what I'm worried about, that you're going to start to have a lot more supply from people who aren't in the game, who aren't addicted to this, who aren't upgrading their NFTs. They'd be mad not to dump their tokens while the price is so high. So just keep that in mind over the next, 5 to 6 months. There's going to be a lot more tokens coming onto the market from different people, from people that aren't actually using this on a daily basis.
But you've got the time wrong. The unlock doesn't start until the 9th of January, 2023.
I'm out by a year. Yeah. Well then,
so we have 8 months of no VC dumping, and then we start to get an unlock. And 8 months
really is crazy.
Yeah,
that's a long time. No wonder you're bullish.
And it's a 7-year unlock. Now, of course, like profit taking. Now, of course, the other thing is, like, if you're a good, decent trader, in the first few weeks of January, you would probably put on a short position and do very well, potentially, because VCs will just take, if they're up 80x and it dips down to 70x, they're still going to take profits. Let's just be honest.
Who knows where it'll be at by then? It could be multiples higher.
Yeah, it could be.
It could have crashed and nosedived. But when's the move to earn tokens start to vest? I guess they're there now, essentially, aren't they? Do they ramp up? Doesn't really kick off till early next year. Then it ramps up a bit.
Well, it starts at and kind of August, and then it ramps up from kind of January, February, and then it properly ramps up after that.
Having it ramp up is actually not a bad thing because it, hopefully can cater to a lot more people.
Yeah, exactly. So I agree with you. Like, the tokenomics they're decent until January, and at January, that's when you'd reevaluate.
And that private sale's twice the size in percentage terms than the Binance public sale too. So keep that in mind. I'd say most of those people have dumped already, the Binance people. Maybe. They would have been sitting on such huge profits early on. They probably all dumped well before $1, most of them. I reckon you'd find 90% of it was dumped before that.
Probably.
Sitting on a 10x.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very likely. The other thing is early beta testers, they were airdropped 15,000 tokens, I heard, from Barn Dog, who's very reputable in the space. I believe he said that, which is now worth like $60,000.
There's no like staking or anything. Maybe that's one of the 11 things that are coming.
Potentially.
Perhaps that'll be interesting.
Exactly. They're also doing a kind of buy and burn. So $1 million, so they have $26 million in a fund, and they take $1 million of it and they buy on-chain. I believe on-chain, it could be on Binance, but I think it's on-chain, every day, and then they just burn them. So, I mean, the $26 million isn't going to do a whole lot, but who knows, maybe they end up, using, I think they are planning to use a portion of, the money that they make to incentive, like not incentivize, but to buy carbon credits. Maybe in the future, like, they are open to just building freaking forests, or diverse, investing a little bit into a green technology. Carbon credits in general, if you're familiar with it, they're a silly system because they don't actually do anything.
Don't really fix the problem. It's just taxing companies for being bad behavior.
Exactly. And if you look into it further, India and China are the biggest carbon producers, and then they don't have a solution there, so it doesn't work. But, who knows? Like, maybe they do a little bit of carbon stuff. Maybe they build some, grow some forests. And maybe they go and buy some of those cleanup, these massive, imagine going in Thailand and having a step-in event, and in the middle of some of their rivers, they have those kind of semi-autonomous garbage collection things in the rivers. And it's owned by Stepin, and just says Stepin on it, massive logos and stuff. And you just run past these on your run. Maybe that's something that they will do. Like, there's so many bullish things that I could go on about, and I'll go over that shortly. There's also another great calculator, by the way, stepin-calculator.netlify.app. Links will be in the show notes. And this just gives you your days to break even. So the community here is helpful and active, for sure. I want to get into a little bit of FUD now, if that's okay. But did you have any questions before I get into the FUD?
Not really. I'm definitely interested to hear, what FUD you've been able to bring out. I'm definitely going to keep this on my radar. I'm not going to buy into it at this point because it's had that big pump, but it could still go much, much higher. Sure. But if it dumps, then I might get interested. But I'm definitely going to follow it, see where it goes.
Yeah, well, I guess I should probably add at this stage, I'm not buying the token. I bought the sneakers like a week ago, or just under a week ago. And I've got, a few sneakers. And if I was going to do it today with the knowledge I have now, I would do the same thing. But I would be just about buying good sneakers, or one good sneaker, for my account, 1 good sneaker for my wife's account, and then 2 other floor price sneakers, and having 4 energy and just leveling up while taking profits. So my plan is not to bet on GST or GMT. That's not my plan, because the team can change things and improve things, but I think the token price of both probably needs to come down, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, so that would be my strategy if I was entering today with the knowledge I have now. So, and I think that's quite important, because when it comes to other games like Axie Infinity, you could just bought AXS and then sold it, near the top, and you would have made this crazy multiple. But if you played the game, you would never have made that same sort of money. And it's kind of like you should be rewarding not the speculators, but the users. And I feel that STEPN will try and do that a lot better than other games where you just speculate on the token. So I have this article here, and it's actually not all FUD. It's so well written. It was from April 16 by this genius here. I'll link it below. Basically says, how I made 357 today on walks with my family. And it goes through about, how STEPN works, the fact that this person now gets outside with the partner, a kid, and the dog, so the dog's getting more walking. The other thing, which people don't necessarily realize, is a lot of people being locked up inside for many years due to why, and getting out again is kind of hard. And I think the future is initially incentivizing. Like in Australia, you can go on like Job Seeker, which is basically money from the government, and you can kind of move in with your parents and comfortably live off that. And that's not decent social security, because there are so many jobs going and there's no incentivization for the person to get a job. In fact, one of my friends who was so employable did this for over a year, maybe even 2 years, just because all you had to do was just apply for jobs that you didn't want to get, turn them down, or do a bad interview, and you still kept on getting money from the government. Now, what I'm trying to say here is, like, maybe in the future, when people talk about universal basic income, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have, well-construed apps where you're paid a little bit in order to get fitter, or to, be social in your community, or to do things like that. Now, there's there's pros and cons to that. I'm not going to get into that because it can also
I can totally say that coming with central bank digital currencies, what does it save your health system when you've got some, move to earn system where people can earn money just by, looking after themselves, having good health?
Exactly. And there's a draconian effect to that, of course. So I don't want that to go down that aspect. But the point is, people are incentivized by money. And I religiously go on my walk. If it was pouring or snowing, or if there was crazy winds, as long as it was relatively safe, I would be out there getting my steps in every day, because it's good. It's so good for your mental health. So this person goes over all of that, then a bit of a rundown of all the different types of sneakers. It's very, very well written. It's quite a long read. And let's kind of scroll down to things where it starts to get a little bit more negative. Goes over the tokenomics as well, which is fantastic. And then he gives a bear case. And so the fact that he can earn $400, the fact that they can earn $400 per day walking their dogs is insane. And at the moment, it's not worth it. It's worth it for them. However, the return on investment is so high because there's a 20% premium on if you mint your sneakers. So if it costs you, say, 15 SOL to mint them, you can sell them for 17 or more Solana, which means that, that's where all this kind of money is being generated from, essentially. And they need to find a way where it's sustainable to bring down the prices of sneakers, still keep everyone happy, and keep on more users. And so this is a bear thing. It's, the play to earn doom cycle. And they have to work out how to play the game within the game in order to fix that. Now, the smart people in the community are super active, so I feel that they have ability to pull this off, as opposed to, and I'm throwing shade on Axie here, and I don't know Axie as well as I probably should, but they just don't seem to like have these AMAs with the community like this. There's not this transparency. They make a change and it's like a trial. So Axie goes and tries everything. Most of them, or a lot of them, fail, and people can just go and look at it and go, all right, well, that failed. We won't do that. And then even better, they can go to their community and go, what do you think will be good? And then you get all these giga brains that just give you free alpha, and then you just evaluate it. Now, this is where the biggest risk is. If Apple pulls the app from the App Store, it destroys everything. And that's 100% accurate because, they've done this with Fortnite. And you can buy through the app these shoes, and Apple gets none of that commission. So the fact that, they can very easily stop that is very, very bearish. I'm hoping that they have some sort of connection with VCs to Apple to prevent that from happening. And maybe in the future, if it's close to happening, maybe, 1% of all royalties through those sales can go to Apple. Maybe the team can do a deal there to keep this from imploding, because, Apple is a gatekeeper. It's annoying, but they've built their ecosystem. They're allowed to do it. Hopefully in the future, we don't have silly things like that, but that's how it is. So that's kind of the bear case. I'll give you the bull case now, if you like.
Sure.
Even though,
yeah, I mean, anything I'd say is, I'm a little worried maybe there's a bit of an Uber element to this where everyone gets enticed by this ridiculously high return on investment in the first few months. And as the more and more people they onboard, it doesn't grow, it can't keep growing at that rate, clearly. So at some point, you might find that your $50 a day, it becomes $5 a day, $2 a day, and then people stop using it. So I guess I'd be worried about that. So it's more how much of that Ponzi-nomics can they make feedback into itself to the point where it does become sustainable. Maybe they distribute royalties out of the NFTs to the players in Solana, in another currency, something like that. I'd be worried about that. And also, what's their moat between competitors? What happens if Nike comes out tomorrow and drops the same model, or with their global reach, that sort of thing? I guess that'd be the other thing I'd sort of consider.
Yeah, well, there's one thing that I didn't mention, that is they have a partnership with Axs sneakers, and they released some limited edition Axs sneakers. They did it on Binance, and it was heavily botted, so it was an absolute rubbish way to do it.
That's a shame.
Yeah, but it's not, as far as I'm aware, it's not exclusive. They could do it with Nike, Adidas, or these other ones. And the reality is, they could definitely do that, Nike and Adidas, in the future, but they would be a year behind. Like, they're a year away.
Yeah.
They have to be.
Yeah, first mover advantage is important for sure.
And there's just not, there's not a lot, like especially Solana, because it's a newer blockchain, there aren't a whole lot of devs available. Like, a dev can get a premium if they are decent. They don't have to be settling for freaking 100K. Yeah, they could get that and, tokens or at least. So, Nike's still a legacy company. They're still going to think that they can outsource the work and stuff like that, in my opinion. They're not going to give shares of Nike, as far as I'm aware. So, very true. Now, where her, I don't even know if Nat is short for Nathan or Natalie, but or what have you. But I think it's a guy. But basically, where this person's bear case gives a good indication of, where it can fail. The bull case is maybe it's full of bias, but goodness gracious, it's a guy. So mentioning how his wife has been posting step and walks on Instagram. She gets DMs from friends. They are jumping in. They're like, what is this thing? There's also a mystery box element. So, you can open a mystery box, get a gem. The gem can be upgraded and improve your efficiency and other scores. So there's this kind of element like Fortnite, as you know, billions of dollars are spent by players on skins. You have a skin. It gives you no competitive advantage. But what if you could have skins in this game which gives you a little bit of a competitive advantage. Or, maybe you can, who knows, maybe like Steph Curry and his Under Armour shoes, maybe they can be skinned over the top. Maybe there's a partnership there. All of a sudden you bring in...
Thinking like, what if you integrated a Pokemon Go into this app? Imagine how big that could get. That'd be insane. You're not just walking around. You got kids running around catching Pokemon or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That could blow up just on that because you're using the same technology. It's your GPS data and your location. So if you throw an augmented reality layer into this as well, maybe that's one of the 11 things that are coming in relation to the token.
Maybe.
That's a massive lever they could try and pull.
I think there's another thing building on Solana, Genopets, which hasn't got anything out except for a beta for like early users. So I haven't really seen it. But I think they have something like that. I also like the fact that this is, not about people looking at their phones. It's about people going out and walking with others and forming walking groups. So people going out in teams and in real life things. Like there's a Stepin event in Adelaide. There's one in somewhere in the UK, Wales, I believe. And these will pop up more and more. I imagine they're probably going to have Stepin events where you'd probably go, there's no reason why they can't have a 5 kilometer running race. And the entry price is, let's say 10 GST, which is burnt. Maybe the organizers use their money. The Stepin team pays the organizers with a portion of their, just profits. You rock up there. You enter the thing, you get prizes if you're actually the fastest. Maybe your shoe type is a runner. It doesn't fit the bill, but maybe if you're given a code or you scan a QR code and all of a sudden your walker for that event gives you can run at any speed and you can earn GST on that as well as get good prizes by doing that. The potential is unreal. At first I was a little bit euphoric, and now the more I research, the more logical it seems that the potential is just super insane. The other thing is, running's the easiest thing to do. Strava's got this massive market cap, of course, a massive number of users, and they cater for other sports as well. There's no reason why this couldn't be added to other things in the future. And Nate mentions earlier that they could buy, they could build a killer fitness app that actually helps people build a healthier lifestyle. They could build tracking for biking, swimming, and skiing. They could buy a hardware company to start making gym equipment. Imagine if they're the new, who is Technogym, or I don't even know who the biggest players are. Back in, I think, the 90s and whatnot, there was a company called Nautilus, and they made this fantastic equipment. These days, you can make equipment.
They could do a treadmill. I mean, that would make some sense. If you can't go out because it's snowing, or you live in a Hong Kong apartment, and you want to go for a run at 3 a.m, I guess they'd have to try and make it so you can't game it because you're stationary. And no doubt people are going to create machines that are in their house that are just rocking their phone back and forth, as we've seen on some of the tweets around.
Yeah, that's not with this app, by the way. That's with another app. But yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's not Stepin. It's GPS purely, and they're upgrading things with AI and anti-cheating measures. But you're exactly right. I mean, a home user thing like a Peloton could be certainly possible. You could, basically have to have a heart rate. Maybe you have to cycle with hands and have a heart rate registering, or maybe there's a running treadmill that gyms buy, and you go to the gym because they have a Stepin thing, and you go there and do your exercise, and maybe they have bonuses where you use that and you get a little bit of an upgrade. So by a partnership with these gyms, you can earn a little bit more GST, and you jump in on this thing, and maybe there's a weight sensor so that you're running on it, but if there's no one running on it, then it knows there's no one running on it. For every problem there's a solution. It just takes a little bit of time to work out, and these are longer term things, of course.
Do they have governance actually up and running yet? Because I noticed there's 30% of the token is sort of in the governance or the DAO sort of treasury, isn't it? The community treasury.
Yeah, but I'm
guessing it's probably too early.
Yeah, I think so.
But I guess that's a lot of marketing spend that the community could vote on for stuff like this that they actually want and are going to use. So that's kind of bullish in a way itself. It's a big percentage of the pie. It's still available.
Definitely. Yeah, like I really feel the gym side of stuff could be fantastic. The number of competitions where you earn rewards, the partnerships, like if I spoke of, like, let's say a triathlon, I guess that would be a little bit harder because you can't really go with your phone. All right, let's just keep it simple with a running race. You go for this running race, and at the end, you win a prize, you win an NFT, and maybe they're partnered with Adidas at this stage, and you also get 2 pairs of sneakers. And then it's first, second, third. You could have. I mean, there's this market is massive. Like, City to Surf in Sydney. It probably hasn't been happening for the last few years, given COVID restrictions. I doubt it has. I know the Gold Coast Australian half marathon was cancelled 2 years ago with like a few days' notice. And as the world starts to open up again and people just learn to live with, everything around us, there would have been a lot of companies that have gone down, and events companies that are gone. And this will be a thing that will entice people back. And to be perfectly honest, I've put a little bit of weight on, and looking around and being an observant person, the rest of the world has as well. I hope I'm not speaking for you, but this has
it's definitely harder to get out of the house. And that extra incentive and sort of forming a healthy habit helps a lot as well. Once you get yourself out and about, it tends to be a bit easier to repeat that and do it again. So I can definitely see the appeal to something like this. At least it's it's definitely incentivizing a healthy lifestyle. So that from that level, it's definitely positive.
Yeah. And like, what at the moment we're only talking a small segment. There's a couple of other things. Just touching on fitness again. When it comes to fitness, the CRO, I can't remember her name. I think it was an Indian lady that I was listening to her Twitter space. I say India, but it could be Sri Lanka or whatever. But in that part of the world, apologies. She was mentioning how, like, she's created an AI company and then she's come on board with this team, and like she seems to be smart with her research. Very smart lady, and she mentioned how when it comes to fitness, like your goal is to keep people coming back, and the easiest way to keep people coming back is results. You don't have to sell something if someone gets a result. And people getting results with this. Like, there are people that have lost so much weight just by walking, because these days it's not happening, and then you walk and then run, and there's so much happening with this, and this is so early. And I would love a world where we are going to go down a metaverse direction. We all know this. We'll be spending more time on our computers. The issue is, in real life, interactions are so important, and we need them to happen as well. So if we can have more running events and things like that, that is 100%, like, it has to be the future. Otherwise, we're going to be getting more and more online and becoming keyboard warriors and losing this social stuff and just losing the skills that make us human, which is not good. That was the first thing that I really wanted to mention. There's something else that was right in. Oh yeah. So I don't know if this is if the person wants this kind of mentioned, so I won't say who the person is, but I was speaking with someone in the community, and they mentioned that their kind of goal is actually to help prevent suicides. And once again, like, unless you're in that kind of system, you wouldn't know. But like, I know this is a bit crazy, but like in rural and regional Australia, mining areas and farmers, they have like some of the highest, if not the highest, suicide rates in Australia, and it's predominantly men. So, how does it relate to finance? I don't know, maybe they've leveraged up with debt, or maybe there's alcohol abuse, etc., or drug abuse. But it can also just be financial hardship. It can also just be kind of loneliness of just working, fly in, fly out, which is a type of mining operation. You go there for like 4 weeks, you do like big days, and then you go have a couple of weeks off. Very hard to have like kids and other things in your life, a partner. when you have that sort of thing. And something like this is brilliant because I'm going with a stereotype here. Quite often that you can have a little bit more of an addictive personality out in these regions. But, if they get like, a group of guys going out, group of guys and girls, group of people going out, going for these runs, you're having that social interaction. It's no longer just work and then beers, work and then beers. I'm speaking more just for Australia at the moment, but that's a very good point. The other thing with farmers, a lot of farmers are not making ends meet. And these guys work exceptionally hard. And I'm not saying this is their target clientele, but I'm sure there'd be some farmers that could maybe afford to get on this. And they're moving all the time. If they're working and walking from one area to another, maybe there's some way that this application can change to be like a step counter in some ways. Like, I don't know, maybe that works as well. I haven't thought that through at all. But my point is, fitness, suicide prevention, this is much bigger than people think. Like if you just think it as a move to earn, a new Axie compared to something like that, you're missing the forest for the trees. Did I get that saying right?
Yep. Yeah. Spot on.
Missing the forest for the trees.
Yep.
Or missing the forest for the tree. I'm not sure if it's singular or whatever. But either way, you're looking at this when you should be looking at this. So that's been a lengthy discussion. What are your thoughts? FUD my bag, sir. FUD.
I've tried. It's been more FOMO inducing than FUD, to be honest. Again, just wary of the price at this point in time. Definitely keep it on my radar, and maybe I'll be buying a sneaker soon. I don't know. We'll see how we go. I don't think I'll be buying the tokens. Definitely not that.
No, neither.
But I'm more interested in maybe giving it a go and seeing how it actually is. It's a reasonable high cost to get in, but it sounds like you might be able to sell and get out at the same price you got in at anyway with the sneakers. So that's probably not a bad option to give it a shot and see how you like it.
Yeah, well, do you do much walking? Or
not these days. I've got a spin bike, so I try to do that or just jump on my little fixie bike, go for a bit of a ride. But I could be incentivized. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I might have to lend you a shoe for you to have a bit of a play with, so you have a bit more of an idea. Well, look, how long have we've been talking for over an hour, so this is the longest podcast we've ever done. So thanks for listening and watching, listeners. I hope it's been helpful. We'll end it now because it's too long. So all links will be below. And of course, if you've found this channel due to step in, just be aware that we also cover other DeFi stuff. In the future, a lot more other gaming stuff as things start to build. We're very keen on Avagotchi. And Luna is the absolute, the pet child or the most brilliant thing in Gerry's mind, and he researches it like crazy. So if you have any interest in the Luna ecosystem, make sure you subscribe and like and follow the Lunar Orbit podcast, which is also available on this YouTube channel, and it has its own Spotify, which I'll link below as well. Thanks for hearing me talk, Gerry. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Seb. It's been informative. Cheers.
Excellent. Cheers. Bye.